Welcome to the Infinite Spark of Being podcast. My name is Keith Welsh, and in this episode, we're going to talk about what the mind will and won't do when it comes to being present. We're going to talk about the grasping and clinging nature of that mind, and also its nature to remain unsatisfied. But before we get into that, go to theinfinitesparkofbeing.com, click the About button, and read a little bit about me, what I have to offer you. If you're interested in booking one-on-one sessions with me, maybe you're interested in starting a meditation practice, learning about meditation, maybe you want to deepen the practice you already have, or maybe your understanding of the mind, some other spiritual component to your life, or maybe you're interested in thought transformation and restructuring, where we can shift some of those ruminating thoughts, stop them, change them, or even grief and loss, you can reach out to me through email or direct message, specifically on Instagram, because that's where I'm the most active. If you're interested in me doing a workshop or a talk at your yoga school or some other facility, also you can reach out through Instagram, direct message, or email. So, also, I tend to always forget this, but the Patreon donate button, if you're interested, if you like what I'm doing, you appreciate the content, you can always donate money. It's greatly appreciated through PayPal or Venmo. If you're interested in the Patreon, there's a $10 tier there that allows you to join us for the first Wednesday of every month online gathering. It's a good community. I'm enjoying it. You guys are great. And it's $10 a month. If you'd like to just check it out, you're not necessarily wanting to subscribe, for $20, again, through PayPal or Venmo, just be sure you get me your email address. Oh, and there's an email that goes out between sessions. It's kind of a preview of the next gathering. There's the new store also. The new store is online, and there's now some yoga gear on there. And the third book is going to join the other books shortly. I am contemplating combining all of them still. I don't know. Anyway, so the mind. First of all, it's important to remember that the mind is not an object. Our thoughts are experiences. I realize that there's a lot of thoughts are things and things. I think it's a quote from The Secret where someone says that. But can our thoughts become things? I guess, if you think about them enough. But the thing that I want people to really understand is this idea that's very popular of being present. Well, if you were just present to this and you're present to that, well, the mind will never be present. That's not the role of the mind. The mind's role, or its duty, is to think about what is happening, to compare and contrast, to say, well, this thing is like this other thing, so we're going to need this in the future. That's what it does. To try to force it into the present moment, that's not the mind. That's just awareness. The mind is always thinking about something, like we've talked about in the past, that great Ram Dass quote, that the mind is always one step away from where the action is, right? So we have that thing of the mind where it'll never be present. So stop trying to make it present. You're just here. That doesn't mean that presence isn't real, that you can't just access pure awareness, but we're always in this kind of mode of thinking, right? So really, it's what is the mind thinking about, right? Which leads us to the first two noble truths the first three, which to me, the fourth one is just a list of the Eightfold Path. It's a list of, be this way, don't be this way, right? But those first three are really interesting because the first one is that the word was dukkha, which, that life is fundamentally dukkha, which translated to suffering. But I've heard a lot of teachers translate it to that it also means wobbly wheel. That life isn't just suffering. It's like a wobbly wheel, which I think is a much better way to think about it. Chogyam Trungpa came along in the 60s and he said, let's replace suffering with dissatisfaction. That life is fundamentally unsatisfying. And that can sound really bad, but what that really means is that there's always something to do. That there's always an itch to scratch. There's always a thing to do, something to take care of. I'm hungry, I need to eat, I have to go to the bathroom, I'm going to da-da-da-da-da-da. And then the second noble truth, that that dissatisfaction is really ignited by grasping and clinging. If I could just have this, then da da da. I've talked about it ad infinitum, so I'm not going to bore you with it. But when we talk about being present, right? And, this is coming out after the holidays, probably a little late, but think about it this way. You saw a lot of people over the holidays, maybe people that you haven't seen in a while, people that you only see once or twice a year. And maybe you were excited to see them. I know that's a bit of a stretch for some of you when it comes to the holidays, but if I'm with you, right, and I'm with you and you make me happy, but I'm constantly concerned with, I'm kind of in my head, like, how do I get you to stay? I'm happy. How do I maintain the happiness? Well, I can maintain the happiness by having you around all the time. And I'm thinking about how to get you to stay, when you're going to leave, how sad that's going to be, and da-da-da-da-da, the things that happened that drove you away the first time. Again, I'm talking about family. Well, then I'm not truly happy. I'm not with it. I'm not it. I'm doing what Ram Dass mentioned. I'm a step away. I'm like just behind happiness. I'm one step away from the action. Well, if I'm happy, I'm not truly being with the happiness while I'm grasping and clinging at more happiness. I'm not just here, with the truth of things that they are going to change. You're going to have to go home. But that third noble truth, that it's not you that suffers, it's not you that grasps and clings, because, well, ultimately there is no you. But it's the mind and the body that does it. That we are that awareness that sits behind it and watches. It's the thing in you that just noticed, oh, I was grasping and clinging. But now I mentioned previously that it's, are there moments of pure presence and awareness? Sure. But I feel as though when I've experienced those, I don't know that I would be a great person to spend time with or hang out with, because I would just be aware. But through that, we start to notice maybe the mind instead is thinking, wow, how beautiful this moment is, that I'm just happy. And it's just here, right? Maybe our thoughts, like if we think of I almost started making hand gestures, realizing most of you would just listen to this. And so few of you actually watch this that I wonder whether I should videotape it at all. But it's, by the way, some of you that don't know, this is on YouTube. You can watch it. There's nothing to see. It's me in front of different walls in the house. But maybe we have this point, like it's me and this person, and we're talking, and I'm happy, and I'm in this happy moment with these people, and maybe I'm thinking about this moment. That's better than thinking about when the moment ends, or how do I get the moment to last, how hard it was before the moment happened, how sad I am when the moment's not happening, how sad I'm going to be when the moment's over. At least the mind is doing that. And that's, again, something that we train it to do, and that, well, we can't really train it without the meditative practice. I don't know that presence really just, like because I'm talking about this in terms of being with other people, like our family or friends or loved ones of some sort. And I don't know that presence happens like socially, there are times when you're with somebody special and maybe you're not talking, you're just kind of there. And you're not even thinking about the fact that you're not talking, you're just there. And that's, presence. But to be present to the happiness means not to be lost in the thoughts about when it's over and what it's going to feel like and all that. Because when we talk about grasping and clinging, and it's like, if I could just have this, then I would be happy. If I could just do that, if I could, if only, if just, if only, if just. And then we get the thing, right? Love, money, adoration, partnership, pets, positions, cars, whatever it is. It makes us happy and then it doesn't. It's just white noise. So the dissatisfaction created that grasping and clinging. And when I say dissatisfaction, people think of sadness, anxiety, loneliness, boredom. But happiness is also something we grasp. When we're in that state as well, we're grasping and clinging. We're not just grasping and clinging when we're sad or angry. But I was talking to someone this week that it's not that we ever escape it. That first noble truth that life is fundamentally unsatisfying. There's nothing in any doctrine that's like, well, once you do this, you'll never be unsatisfied again. Or you'll never grasp and cling again. I think that in knowing that those two things are factors, there is a lessening of it. Knowing that dissatisfaction will come again and that, it's a part of life, it's a fact of life. I think there's something to that lessens it. And it's so hard to say. I'm not saying like you're just perpetually unsatisfied. It's not that. It's just that, I don't know. Like, there's times where it's like, man, I wish I had some energy, so I have something caffeinated, and then I'm like, too much caffeine. Like I can't even sit still, It's just the way it is. None of these things go away. If you're engaged in this because you're trying to escape the human incarnation, the facts of it, which are that it is fundamentally unsatisfying, and then it's constant grasping and clinging, then you're going to be very upset, and you might even quit. But what if you just knew that was the way it was? I'm happy, and then later I won't be. I'm sad, and later I won't be. I'm angry, and later I won't be. You get the new thing. Wow, this is really great. And then it'll just be, for Christmas, I got a bunch of new shorts, I run a lot, like shorts. But it's great. It's like, oh, cool, man, I got new shorts. And then later on, there'll just be another pair of shorts in my drawer. They're not going to be my special Christmas shorts anymore. So the same thing with people. But that all changes too. Doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it's different. It's just change. And it's inevitable, and it's part of it. And so, it's that if we are going into this thinking that eventually we're just fully present and it's just love and light, and that it's just not realistic, man. I can say that I am happy. I'm happy. Even when things are bad, ultimately, if someone said, are you happy? I was like, yeah, I'm happy. Ultimately, yeah, I'm happy. Does this moment kind of suck? Yeah, it's not great. So the mind will never be present. That's not its job. But what we can do is work with, awareness to hear the conscious mind as well as the divine mind. Maybe the divine mind gets louder, and with the divine mind, you start to think about how wonderful it is to be happy right now, instead of drifting into the carnal conscious mind that's concerned with when the happiness ends. Maybe that's all there is to it. Old age, sickness, and death are a factor in this. They're there. They're always going to be there. So it's the divine mind that says, hey, this is good. This is nice. I can just be happy here. And then that'll change. And I think that's what gets a little louder when we associate with awareness, soul as a concept, as a philosophical point of view. When we associate with those things, we experience that probably more. That's the idea of the mantra, right? The mind tool, that which protects. So, which mantra am I listening to? The divine mind has wonderful mantras too. So does the conscious mind. Oh no, oh my God, that's the conscious mind. Oh wow, that's the divine mind. You know? So which tool are we going to use to construct our reality? We can use the conscious mind, or we can use the divine mind. We can use the good ideas, we can use the fearful ones, you know? So being fully present to pain and suffering, what does that mean? Well, like I usually tell people, it just means that, hey, I'm sad. Just be sad. Don't worry about when it's over. It'll end. Don't worry about how to mitigate it, how to right it, but that's a habit. You'll always try to do that. So just try to just be sad. Today, I had a client once say, she would always say, today it's like this. That was it. You know, today it's like this. Tomorrow it'll be some other way. You know? But right now it's like this. And that'll change because this hasn't always... It's like when, you know, you think someone gets mad and they, you know, I don't know, but I've never been one for like dismantling, you know, assaulting inanimate objects, like punching walls or anything. I've never been one of those people. But I've asked hundreds of people, after you hit that wall or threw that lamp or threw your phone, did your anger just dissipate suddenly? Did your sadness or disappointment suddenly go away? No, it was still there. That thing just goes on its own. As much as you try to maintain happiness, to prop it up with other impermanent things, did the happiness last forever? No, it wanes. Everything just wanes. What has the nature to arise has the nature to recede. So you're just present to it, meaning that you just hang out with it. You don't push away. Chogyam Trungpa used to say, if you try to wrestle with the mind, it just learns to wrestle back. You know, learns all your moves, learns all your tricks. So today it's like this. And it can be an unbearable pain, you know, but then it lifts, it changes, it moves, it shifts. Who knows why? Maybe the mind finds a new distraction. I have no idea, you know. But to be present to what's happening is to just be with it. You know, it was, I think, a second book where I wrote about like it pulls, you know, sadness just comes and sits next to you and just screams in your ear. And you just hold space for it. That part of your mind or yourself or whatever you call it that is sad, that is hurt, that is suffering, and you just let it sit down and you just let it talk. Just let it talk. Be present to it. You know, it's like when you hold space or you're present for someone that you love and they're having a hard time and you just listen. You nod and you hear them. Maybe your heart breaks for them. You know, you feel into what they might want to hear, what they might need to hear. And you're just there for it, you know. And that's the same thing with the mind. You know, in the body, the nervous system, it's affected by the mind. It yells and it screams and it says stuff and you're just there for it. And you just nod. And same with happiness. Happiness shows up and you just let it be happy. You know, Christmas Eve, you know, there's kids in the room and they're screaming and they're yelling and they're opening presents and you know, and I just sat. And it, you know, some of it's a lot, right? That energy is like, ooh, Jesus, you know, but I just sat. You know, my mind's got thoughts and opinions and da-da-da-da. I just sat and it's like, yeah, you know. And you do the same thing for your own mind and for your own body when it, you know, it's doing what it does. Like recently I had my back injury that comes and visits me once a year at least, right? It's shown up twice a year, but once a year is good enough. But it shows up and it makes me very sad. It makes me sad because I can't do what I want to do. I can't go to yoga. I can't run. It gets like, oh, God. And I just tried to be patient with it, hang out with it, you know. Anger, the same thing. You get mad. It's like, I don't know how many times you've typed that text message or that email or created that Instagram post. I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. It's like, I'm just going to feel this way. And that's thinking too. You're training the mind, the divine mind, to step forward and say, everybody calm down. Conscious mind, carnal mind, you relax, chill. Go ahead and have your tantrum. Body, we're going to have to be cool while conscious mind freaks out. You just sit and you breathe. Why the breath? Because it's the only thing that's real. It's happening. These thoughts and these fears, this imaginary stuff that the conscious mind comes up with, it's not happening. The only thing that's happening is the breath. That's why we go there. So the mind will not be present. It's not its job. Its job is to think about things and decide what to do next. And we have the subconscious mind, we have the conscious mind, and the divine mind, the higher self. We get quiet, practice enough, we hear the divine mind more. That carnal mind just sounds like a frantic, annoying friend, And then the subconscious just, starts to listen to whoever's the loudest. That's why it's important that the divine mind gets a little louder so the subconscious can start creating a reality based on the divine mind and not the conscious mind. So that's it. Go to theinfinitesparkofbeing.com. Again, if you're interested in one-on-one time with me, you can reach out through email, Instagram, direct message. Go check out the store. Buy some shirts. I got some good ones. I got some new ones coming too. I'm excited. New book is even closer to being done. It is called Awaken. I was debating last week. I was like, wait a minute, what the hell did I call it? But it is Awaken. Yeah. Go to the Patreon. Sign up. Join us. First Wednesday of every month. We sit. We have a little thing this month. I think we're doing it this week. I don't know, the 3rd? Yeah, the 3rd, I think. The Divine Mind. Okay, that's it. I'm sure this speaks to some of you. So I love you, and I will see you later.